Good afternoon, students. Wendi Fraser for Canam here in Australia. Congratulations if you have received a visa recently. You would have attended a pre-departure webinar with me. For those who are coming up to semester 3, who are being granted visas, just a little bit of an update before we do your pre-departure. Some tips and tricks about coming to Australia. One of the things that I always tell students is make sure that you've spoken to a Canam consultant about pre-booking your accommodation. It is a lot cheaper to pre-book your accommodation whilst you're in India than when you arrive in Australia. They'll be able to show you all the different types of sites that are available, the room configuration, the cost, all the amenities and the facilities that come with your student accommodation. So I highly recommend that that's number one on your list, that you discuss with us even before your visa is granted, as it can always be cancelled if you need to defer an intake. The second thing that I always highly recommend to students is when it's time to come to Australia to look at what goods you can and cannot bring into Australia. Australia has really strict quarantine laws, and many foods are not allowed to come into Australia. And they include meat and dairy and nuts and seeds. So make sure that you look at our website for border patrol, what products can and cannot come into Australia. Thirdly, documentation. Now, a lot of students don't follow the checklist. We always supply you with a pre-departure booklet and a checklist of what documents that you need to bring with you. So number one, you will bring your birth certificate, your confirmation of enrollment. Obviously, you've got your passport to secure to get onto your flight. You will have your original transcripts that have all been translated. You will bring any medical records with you if medical is an issue, any past illness, that will be really helpful. And you carry all of these in your carry-on. Do not put them into your suitcase. Suitcases can get lost and go astray. And when you enter border security, they will want to look at your documentation. They'll want to know what school you're studying at, what course you're studying at, and they will want to see that you have your confirmation of enrollment and your course information. So please pack that in your carry-on luggage. It's really important because you will require access to those documents when you land at one of our airports. The other thing is that you know that in our airports, whether it's Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, Adelaide, Gold Coast on the Queensland, South Australia, WA, you cannot use your mobile phone whilst you're waiting to clear border security. So that's really important. You'll see a lot of signs there telling you not to use your phone. And I know you'll be exhausted and you want to let your family know that you have landed safely, but please wait till you exit border control. The other thing that I also suggest is having, apart from your accommodation booked, that you talk to us about how you're going to get from the airport to your accommodation. There are lots of options available and we can assist you with that. One of the cheapest ways to get into the CBD of any city is to use the Sky Bus services. The tickets are very, very reasonable. Now, as I said before about food, don't worry about bringing food. We have so many Indian grocers in every suburb of Melbourne, as well as some amazing Indian restaurants. So please leave the food behind so you don't get into trouble with border security. The other thing I would tell you is that we do have a cost of living crisis worldwide. You have it in India, we have it here in Australia. You know the funds that are required for you to be able to study in Australia. And there's a couple of tips and tricks that I'll pass on to you, having worked over the years in many universities and many private TAFEs and RTOs. So things like haircuts can be quite expensive in Australia, but we have some amazing schools that teach hairdressing, and you can actually go and get a student haircut, and that will save you a lot of money because it is always, in the majority of the schools, free of charge, because the students that are learning hairdressing, they actually need models. And the same as beauty treatments, things like facials, having your nails done, having threading done. All the beauty schools teach that, and that's a way of saving money. We have supermarkets that are cheaper to shop at. Places like Aldi are really great. And you'll also find that your university sometimes, or your private RTO, has discount cards that they will give you of businesses around the institute, so you can actually get discounted coffees or discounted lunch. So a lot of institutes do put together little packages that are student discount cards, and you'll be issued a student discount card. So you can save money on many items. Many things like Gumtree and Marketplace. It's a great place if you are setting up your own home, where you'll find cheap furniture and sometimes even given away free furniture because people are moving and they need to dispose of their furniture. So there's lots of little tips and tricks, but definitely tune in to our orientation pre-departure, because that covers really in depth all the things that you need to know about moving to Australia. And I guess at the moment, if you are coming, it's still the July intake. It is winter here. So you are going to need to, even though it's in summer in India, you will need to layer on the plane. So definitely take a jumper to wear on the plane, as planes are always quite cool. But also when you land, it's going to be very, very cold. So have a beanie, have a nice thick winter jacket, have your backpack with maybe some gloves or something like that, because it can be very cold in the evenings and very cold in the morning in most states of Australia, being winter. So I recommend that you go through our pre-departure guide. If you haven't received it from your Canam consultant, which I doubt, or if you've mislaid it, please ask us to email you another one, and tune in to the orientations that I conduct, because I go in depth about covering what you must do to maintain your visa when it comes to staying in Australia and studying. You must maintain your visa conditions and not chop and change institutes or chop and change your courses. Don't be swayed to do that when you're onshore. I also cover things about how to use your app for your overseas health cover. I talk a lot about what happens at orientation when you attend orientation at your university. So congratulations if you're one who's coming in July. And for those who have just got their semester 3 visas, congratulations to you. And I'll be meeting you soon in a full orientation and pre-departure briefing. Have a great day.